Okay, next we're going to hear from Brandon Henning from NvDOT, and he's going to be talking to us about the Bridge Inspectors Program Managers Working Group. So let's welcome Brandon.
All right, thanks everybody for having me. I guess it was about this time last year, Chris, at the annual or at our monthly meetings, brought up the idea of a bridge inspector working group that some of the other partnerships had started, and they were looking for volunteers. Nobody was stepping up, so I think the next meeting I ended up volunteering to chair this group. Kind of a background, so the Southeast, they started back in early 2021, and then the Midwest started a program in June 2001. The Midwest did a presentation. I was already in the process of okay, we're gonna go ahead and start this in 2022. Midwest did a presentation at the Western Bridge and Midwest annual meeting in December last year, and kind of gave me a bunch of ideas just to get started. And then it was kind of getting outreach, because at that meeting I was kind of meeting with different states, because not always do you have a bridge inspector at these meetings. Nevada, we send somebody from our inspection side and somebody from our design side, but not every state kind of has their own different way of sending people here. So I was trying to get it out there that, hey, we're going to start this in January. I'm the chair. Roman from Washington does the meeting minutes. We are looking for vice chairs and other people on the committee. We currently have 8 states that are regularly attending out of the 13 states that are, in the Western Bridge. So if there's anybody from, I know Alaska and Hawaii don't normally come to this stuff, but if there's anybody from Arizona, Montana, or Wyoming, we haven't got somebody from those states to attend our monthly meeting yet. So if you're here from those states, pass it along. You can talk to me after. Our primary focus is bridge inspection, and it's kind of state specific. We have kept it just the state members. We haven't included consultants, and we haven't included the FHWA. If we need to, we'll include them on certain meetings whenever we want to discuss something that they have more expertise in. And then we're maintaining the focus on inspections, but also tying it back to preservation. So June 24th, we had our first meeting. Basically, kind of the first meeting was discussions of, okay, topics that we want to discuss moving forward. So some of the topics were inspection QA QC versus condition state ratings, and then local agency bridges. Does the state have authority over the local agency bridges, or do local agencies do their inspections? Getting maintenance on those bridges, and how if some counties and cities are have bigger budgets to address some of the inspection findings, or are you having in Nevada we have sometimes where it's we go to the bridge every 2 years, and especially on some of the city county bridges, that nothing changes, so it just gets worse. Other items, we scour programs plan of actions, UAV inspections, and program management, and then also the new MBIS that came out in May. So this kind of means we're just kind of a young group, just started. In May, we've kind of been incorporating some of this new stuff that came out. So February, we had our second meeting. This was where we kind of get into MBI ratings and condition states. One thing we struggle with, and it's most all states do, is okay, you're getting an MBI rating of a 6 or a 5. Are the condition states matching up with what that rating is? And so I guess as an example, I was maybe I'm getting a culvert that's a 6, and I got maybe 5 or 10% in CS2, and then maybe 1% in CS3, and we're getting a 6 for this, and I'm going, okay, well, 95% of this bridge or this culvert is in good condition. Is this really justify this? And where the location of those defects were. All the states are kind of about the same, just they're just trying to compare and make the best judgment as what you should be rating as your MBI ratings, and then also with your condition states. Yeah, third meeting in April, we kind of went into local agency bridges, and then program management. Nevada, we do all our inspections statewide, so city, county, but it's Washington has counties do some of their own inspections. So, and the states just do their the state-owned bridges. So each state has kind of their different way of doing it. The West is kind of jumps around, like some, like you think Utah's full-on inspection of everything in their inventory. So it was kind of cool, just like discussions like, okay, there, yeah, that makes sense. So, and then on the program management is just kind of seeing what programs people are using. We use Bentley Inspect Tech, or SOIs now, and then, but a lot of the Western states use BRM. So it was interesting just talking to other states, like what they use for their maintaining their inventory. And then in May we did, when this was right after the final rule got published by the feds, so we did I had already had a 48-month frequency I was going to talk about. The final rule came out, and so that there is 48-month frequency options in that final rule, and our state had already gone through the process of getting culverts, some concrete bridges, and steel, and then in January we got steel bridges on 48-month frequencies. And so like our inventory like currently is about 50% on 48-month frequencies. We just have over 2,000 bridges, so we're kind of low on the number of bridges compared to other states. But it was kind of interesting because some states like Utah doesn't do a 48-month frequency because they want to have that continuous frequency of looking at their bridges and decks, and so they can kind of plan out preservation techniques. We kind of went, because the final rule was so new, kind of went into like what people, at least from their preliminary looking at the final rule, what their plan was moving forward. And like, so for the Nevada, we're kind of gonna go, there's two methods you can do, like an engineering committee to justify moving bridges to longer frequencies, or you can follow the method one, where it kind of gives you guidelines, like certain ratings for the culvert, the sub, super, and you can move those forward as long as the load rating's good. So, and keep that 48-month frequency. So a lot of states were going to consider doing the 48-month frequency with the method one, and that's our plan in Nevada right now. So, and then in June, kind of got into the training requirements with the final rule, because we're going to have every 5 years you're going to have to do a refresher for bridge inspection. Just kind of seeing what other states, if they had their own in-house training. Washington had their own in-house training, and that got approved by the feds. There is an option for that, you can do that, and it was kind of cool to see what they sent us, like a agenda for their, I think it's a 2-day training or something like that, 2 or 3-day training. So just to see what's been approved by the feds, and then if it's something that we want to move forward with, at least in Nevada, because during the pandemic we kind of did our own thing because there was no bridge inspection training going on, and so we just kind of did it in-house with our consultants, and that seemed to work out really well because it kind of became more of a state specific. So and then we also have, I mean, our budget is kind of confined, so it makes it a little difficult sometimes to get all the training that we need to get done. And then we got into just UAV drone inspections, and everybody's just kind of getting into that. Some of the states have some of their own drones, and that they use for assisting in inspections. And then it was one, I think it was Utah, talked about I guess they got a remote control car to go through culverts and put a GoPro on it. And we have a handful of culverts in the state where there's debris built up in the culverts, and as an inspector, especially if there's a lot of homeless debris, it's not the safest thing for inspectors to try and get in there and inspect that. So it was kind of a cool idea that Utah was doing, so it was something we're going to be looking at moving forward. So we didn't have a meeting in July because I was out doing inspections, so that's always been a challenge with all the groups. So and then our meeting should be going on right now, I think, yeah, right now. So so it's going to be rescheduled for the end of this month. But if you have anybody that's interested, it's the second Tuesday or second Wednesday of each month that we do it. So the Western Bridge has the first Wednesday. So the following week is the second Wednesday we do our meetings, and so they're just an hour long. And we're just going to my plan is kind of continue to kind of go identify the items in the final rule and have like just discussions with everybody. So That's all I got for now. So if anybody has any questions, you can come talk to me afterwards. Or I want to thank everybody. So.
The preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.